Lovely to have you here. If you have any questions, like I said, you're welcome to jump off mute and ask. Otherwise, if you want to pop anything in the chat, that is available there for you as well. So let's get started. I'm going to rock and roll here, and just stop me if you need to ask a question. So here's what we're going to do in this training today. This is what you're going to walk away with from this jam-packed training. We are going to create a completed, that's right, completed 30-second sales pitch video. So that means you'll be able to immediately, if you choose to, share your video pitch right after this training. So really exciting. I love this kind of a class because we take action and we get it done here and now. So I'm also going to share with you 5 video hacks to help you to attract, connect with, and convert your dream clients so that you understand the big picture strategy when it comes to incorporating video into your marketing. Danielle says it sounds like mission impossible. I know, doesn't it? It sounds really scary, but that's what we're doing today, and I trust you're going to love it. So, I'm running 2 computers here today, so if I'm kind of like going, that's why. So yes, you will have the opportunity to work with me on improving your video content even more after this training if you would like, because I know that once you've learned the hacks that I'm going to share today, that you're going to want to know the rest. And you know that I've got so much more to share than just this short training. So this short training will go for roughly about an hour, maybe a little bit longer, because I just want to give you as much value as possible. And if there are questions and things like that, it might take a little bit longer than an hour, but I'm going to try my best to stick to the time frame. We'll see how we go, hey? So here's what some of my students have said or started to experience once they have done some of my trainings. And I know, as I mentioned, Danielle has done some of the trainings too, and I'm sure you've got your own version of your experience. So Phrase said that, and this is really hard for me to say, but lovely at the same time, literally changed her life, and she gained the confidence to talk on camera and in person. So it wasn't just in business for her, but in her personal life too. And she'd also, after she'd done a program just like this, she'd done the numbers and she'd actually doubled her sales over a month. So really exciting stuff. And thanks to Phrase for sharing that. So you're in the right place today. If you are doing all your own marketing for your business, and if you find yourself procrastinating on showing up on video because you feel like it's all too hard, maybe you're already showing up on video, but not getting the results that you know is possible with video. If that's you, you are in the right place. Or if you want to use video more effectively in your business so that you can attract more leads and ultimately make more sales. That's what this is all about, isn't it? So also, if you want to nail down a really solid strategy for growing your business through video marketing, you are absolutely in the right place today. Really 3 important things that I want you to take note of before we really dive into the meat of the training. That there are some advanced strategies in this training, but that doesn't mean that if you're new to this, that you should switch off. Because I've been studying online marketing for nearly 10 years in one form or another, multiple courses. And my aim is always to attend the classes that actually stretch my thinking so that I can grow. And so I trust that this is one of those classes for you. And if you are new to all this, stay with us, keep showing up, because I tell you what, over time, you will pick things up along the way. And the second thing is that I know this stuff works, regardless of what product or service you offer, because what I teach is universal principles of communication and sales strategies. And of course, 3, if you want to sell more products, services, or online programs, that you really must be using video marketing right now, and you are simply leaving money on the table if you don't these days. And I trust that if you're here and you're watching this, that you already know that. So also, if you've never done a video before, that is okay. You are still in the right place. In fact, you're actually going to get the most value from this training because you'll be able to start implementing these strategies straight away, like immediately, right now. So let's get into it. What is your video content really all about? See, it's not about making more video content. We don't want more because that's stressful and it's time consuming. It's actually about the strategy behind your video content. And the strategy comes down to every single element of your customer journey and how well You move your audience from a lead through to a sale with really purposeful video content. So how do we improve the strategy behind our video content? I want you to start thinking about this as kind of like a puzzle. You know, our video content strategy should work like a puzzle. Each piece of the puzzle plays a really essential part in creating the final image. And you can guess what happens if just one little piece is missing, right? It's not good. Just like a puzzle, you know, your video content strategy should consist of unique pieces, and there are five specific videos that I suggest that you work on just to get started. And each of those pieces plays an essential part in communicating that full picture. So when they're all working together, your conversion rates increase.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Sorry, Siri. Siri's just having a conversation with me at the same time. There we go. So the real question is, what happens when one or more of these pieces are missing? As many people, I imagine right now, are finding if they're not getting the results, it could just be one of these pieces missing, or possibly more than one of these pieces are missing. Let's have a look at how much your conversions suffer without you even realizing it. Now, one of those pieces of the puzzle, let's look at an example, is one of those 5 videos is a sales page video, right? So every product or service should have a sales page, yeah? A page where you send people and that's where they purchase your product or service. If you're just starting out, you may not have a sales page yet, and that's totally fine. But I just want you to have an understanding of how it works in action, right? So the statistics tell us that websites with video, sales pages with video, convert at about 4.8% versus ones without video converted around 2.9%. So that's a big difference just by one element of a sales page. So I want to do a quick comparison with these figures, right? First of all, do you know your sales page conversion rate right now? If you don't already have a sales page, that's okay. But if you have a sales page and you know your conversion rate, it would be great to have that sort of front of mind. You don't necessarily have to tell us, but if you feel like you want to put it in the comments, that's awesome. If not, totally fine. So let's do an example, right? This is really simple maths. I am not the best at numbers, but I'm going to give this one a shot. That's why I've got it here on the screen. So a video without, a sales page without video, will convert at about 2.9%, right? So if we had 1,000 visitors to that site and it resulted in 29 sales, okay? 2.9%, 29 sales. Pretty simple math. And your price point is $1,000. What that means is the total sales will be $29,000. Now, the only thing we're changing on the sales page to get to a 4.8% conversion rate is adding a video, right? The video has to be strategic and work in a way that increases the conversion rate, of course. But with just one simple video, what you can increase your sales to, if you have still 1,000 visitors to the site, instead of just 29 sales, with a really well-constructed video, you can actually create 48 sales. Price point is the same as an example, so that's $48,000. So see the difference there? That is a huge difference simply by adding a video to your sales page. Now, these aren't numbers that I've just pulled out of thin air. That's actually statistics that have been studied, and you know, I trust this really goes to show why video is so important. I'm just letting somebody else into the room. Sam is entering the room. I love that. Welcome, Sam. How you doing? Hope you're well. If you are watching on Facebook and you want to join us in the room, you are welcome to. You may sit in the waiting room for a moment until I admit you, but that's all good. Thanks for joining us, Sam. So let's continue. I trust that makes sense. You know, just a really simple, you know, math sum here shows that video sales pages without video convert at a much lower rate. Let's continue here. So these video hacks that I'm going to share with you in just a moment are going to actually help you to improve your video strategy so that you can increase that conversion rate. Because what happens when you increase your conversion rate you automatically increase your results, right? Like we've just seen. And you can also decrease your workload, because once you've got a strategy that works, all you need to do is start to leverage that strategy. And yes, it can take time, and it will take time to make sure that your videos are really, really optimized. So let's get into it now. As you listen to this training today, I want you to listen out for the very last hack. That's where we're going to create your 30-second video pitch. And I know you think it could be an impossible task, but I tell you, I'm going to explain it so simply that you will have no trouble creating your video today. So why is video the fast track to our business growth? And this is what I truly believe. It's not necessarily just about the conversions, although they're great. It's not just about the results that you can get with video. I truly believe that the biggest reason that you should incorporate video into your marketing right now is for who you will need to become to show up for your audience. So I love this model, the Be, Do, Have model. Rather than waiting until we have the results, we need to actually start being in the energy of that person who has the results. So we need to be before we have, before we do, and before we have. And I trust that makes sense. We actually need to show up before we get the results. Yeah. And I know often we think, we use this model backwards and we wait until we have the thing that we want before we actually take action. Whereas with video, if you start showing up, even when you're not ready, or if you feel like you're not ready yet, it is the best time to start, because you need to start showing up before you can get the results. And I know that's hard. Sometimes it's really, really hard to do. And that's why, the Facebook group that I run is so key, because we support each other on that journey, and it can be really challenging. But that's why I believe that this is why we should be doing this. This is why we should be showing up on video, for the person that we need to become to show up for our audience. And personally, my business and my life in general completely changed the moment that I chose to go all in with video marketing. And I don't mean just dabble around the edges. I mean like all in, to truly learn what it takes to create a video marketing strategy. And yes, I am still learning. I will always be on this learning journey. I am a lifelong learner, as I trust you are too if you're in this class. So a couple of fun photos of me. I have just written a book. Danielle was at the book launch on Sunday. Very exciting stuff. It's called Speak with Confidence and Grow Your Business, and it will be available online very soon. So a few things to keep in mind. Thanks, Sam. Thank you. It's very exciting. A few things to keep in mind as we go along. It is time to get out of our own way. Perfection in video is your enemy. Right? This class is not just about creating a 30-second video pitch, but I'm also going to share with you a potentially life-changing strategy. And I say potentially because if you don't actually take action on this, then it certainly won't be life-changing. And it's like anything in life. When we learn something, it can be potentially life-changing, but until we take action, then we're not going to see those results. I trust that makes sense. So let's get started. The 5 video hacks that you need to know to increase your conversions. I trust you've got a pen and a paper and you're ready to take some notes. And I am probably going to talk quite fast through this, because I want to give you as much as possible in the next hour or so that we can actually get to creating the video that I know you so want to create right now. So here are the 5 hacks. Number 1, the first thing is matching your audience's awareness. Okay, what the hell does that mean? You need to match your video content to your audience's awareness level. Now I want you to think, if you went out on a first date with a guy and he proposed to you on that very first date, what would your answer be? Would you say yes? I hope not. That would be a bit weird, right? And hopefully no one would say yes to that, but it's the same when it comes to your video marketing strategy. It's the same in sales. If you are pitching your products and services at the very first moment that somebody has met you, then that's just a little bit weird. And, I want you to remember that when you are doing your sales pitch videos, we need to be strategic about where we're placing those videos and how often we're actually sharing what we call the pitch video. Does that make sense? I trust it does. No one say yes to a marriage proposal on the first date. So here is a bit more of an explanation on these audience levels. Oh, I've just got a comment there. Just bear with me a tick while I open the chat. Question, Sam, what happens if you have new people joining your group every day? Great question. I'm trying to pitch every day in one way, shape, or form. Okay, really good question. I'm going to come back to that in just a moment, and this may actually explain that in the same time, right? So your audience have different awareness levels. So we have cold audience, warm audience, hot audience, and then an audience that is totally on fire, right? And at each stage of their awareness, we want to be delivering different kinds of video content. So for example, our cold audience are people that don't know us. So think about people that are maybe scrolling through Instagram, or they're on Facebook and somebody mentions you in a comment and they go, oh, okay, never heard of this person, but I'm going to check it out. That's a cold audience. They don't know you yet. They don't necessarily know what you offer yet, but they found you or they've been referred to you in some way or another. So the video content that you want to be creating for your cold audience is generally value-based content, right? Free content that is valuable to your audience. And generally the ratio I like to say is 90% value and 10% pitch. And the pitch, when it comes to a cold audience, is generally going to lead your audience to become a warm audience member, right? So the 10% of pitching to your cold audience, and this is videos that you might be doing, say, for example, on your Facebook business page, where it's just a cold audience. They haven't, given them your details yet. They haven't joined a Facebook group yet, but they're just sort of having a look, maybe getting to know you a little bit, okay? And so 90% value, 10% pitch. And that 10% pitch is probably going to be something like, hey, come in, I'm running a free masterclass, or I'm running a free training, or I've got this free cool thing that you can have that's really valuable, and you're going to give that to them in exchange for their details, or in exchange for them coming into your community, joining a Facebook group, for example. So if they're already in your Facebook group, they'd be considered a warm audience member because they've already said yes to the free content or the value that you're giving them. Just want to check in, Sam. Is this starting to make sense? Is that answering your question just a little bit? There's a lot more that I can say, but yes, awesome, fantastic. So if they're in your Facebook group, then they're already past the cold stage and they're into the warm stage, because either they've heard about you from somewhere else or they've seen some of your content through other platforms. So it's okay to be pitching a little bit more when it comes to your Facebook group. So when they get to your the hot level, this is where they really trust you. They know that you can help them with what it is that you do or what it is that they need. And this is where they become buyers. So this is where we want to change our content. So this is where the content is for our buyers. And it might be some extra value add bits. They're probably in either a program or they've purchased your service. And then, of course, we can make content again for what I like to call our raving fans who are on fire and they love what you do, and they just kind of want to be a part of it, right? So there's all these different audience levels that we need to be creating different styles of content for. Cool. Any questions? Yeah, you're welcome, Sam. Any questions on this? Now, I'm not really checking the Facebook comments at this point. So if you're asking a question on Facebook, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to come back to those at the end of the class. So between all four, what ratio would you recommend for each? Okay, so generally when it comes to a warm audience, I like the 90% value, 10% pitch for a cold audience. You can up that a little bit for your warm audience. When it comes to your hot audience, obviously that you don't really need to pitch to them all the time. So it's going to depend on a lot of things. There's probably not really a specific rule of thumb. The reason that I added the 90% value, 10% pitch on the cold audience is because that's like a general rule of thumb. For your warm and your hot audience, it's probably going to change a little bit depending on your products and services. Okay, Danielle, when doing a guest blog, is that considered cold or warm? Great question, Danielle. That is considered a cold audience, because if you're guest blogging on somebody else's platform, that audience knows the person you're guest blogging for. And so if you're the guest, then they don't know you yet. They're just getting to know you. So think about it with the know, like, and trust factor. Yeah, if they don't know you yet and they're just getting to know you, they're probably a cold audience member. Cool. Yeah, you're welcome. Alrighty, let's move on. Hack number 2 is embrace the mistakes. Now this one, I know it sounds a little bit obvious, but I'm going to really drive this point home because this is so important. There's this massive misconception out there that you can't share your video content until it's perfect. Yeah, and that is completely wrong. Because the fact is that people buy from people. We're all human. And the more you trust yourself, the more reason you give your audience to trust you. So I want you to give yourself permission to make mistakes. And I want instead, if you make a mistake on video, instead of thinking, oh my God, I made a mistake, that was awful, oh, I feel disgusting, I feel terrible, people are going to judge me, all of that. I want you to start thinking about making a mistake on video as a good thing, as a way that you can actually build that relationship and build that trust with your audience. And you know what happens generally when you make that switch in your mind? What happens is you tend to make less mistakes because you're not actually putting that pressure on yourself to be perfect. So we are not aiming for perfect. And I really want you to remember this when you're creating your pitch video today. We are not aiming for perfect. We are aiming for giving value and being genuine and authentic and all of that good stuff, rather than trying to be perfect. If you stumble on a word, that is okay. People don't expect perfect. In fact, we're actually kind of wary when we see that perfect, that perfect display. We're kind of like, hold on a second, how is that happening? They just can't be that perfect. So we become quite wary about people that are perfect. So let go of that, give yourself permission to make mistakes. It will all be a-okay. You want to show your audience the real you and have a laugh at yourself if you do make a mistake. That's what this is about. It's about letting go, having a bit of fun, and being in the energy of, you know what? It's okay to make mistakes. I'm human. We're all human. Your audience are human beings. And I think that's easy to forget, especially on video, because we can't see them. So I want you to imagine that audience beyond the camera, the real people beyond the camera that also need you to be real too. And have a laugh, let go, have a bit of a laugh, have some fun with it. Gosh, the amount of times that I stuff off on video is crazy, and I'm still alive, I'm still here. I still make sales on video. Now, hack number 3. I did tell you we were gonna zoom through this, didn't I? So number 3 is your vibe attracts your tribe. Your energy, how you are on video, attracts the people that are going to vibe with you. So if you are quieter, if you are let's use an example. If you are a lawyer and you are sort of more subdued and you are sharing information that is very, very specific, your energy is probably going to be a little bit lower. Whereas if you are a healer, for example, if you are a coach or healer, your vibe is probably going to need to be a little bit higher to attract the right kind of people, right? So your energy actually really matters when you're on video or whenever you're pitching, because pitching on video is exactly the same concept as if you were in front of an audience, if you had them there right in front of you, or if you were, running a class like this one, for example. Your energy on video needs to be respectful of your audience's time. You need to be giving as much as possible to respect your audience's time and attention. Because otherwise, I tell you what, they're not going to watch your videos. So your energy needs to be a match for your audience. I trust that makes sense. Let me know if you've got any questions on that. I'm just going to take this sip of tea. So there's 3 things that I suggest that you do before you record any kind of video content. The first thing is to prepare your content. Now, if you're kind of new to my community and you've recently downloaded my video script bundle, which I trust you have if you've recently joined the group. If you haven't yet and you want a copy of my video script bundle, pop in the comments. Great question, Sam. What I will do is I'm going to pop a link into the chat at the end of the class, and then you can download that for yourself. Awesome. Yeah, it's great. And it just gives you a bit of an idea of, how to structure your content if you're new. Because the thing is, and I'm going to totally contradict myself here because I've created these video scripts and I'm giving away these video scripts for free. But the thing is, scripting your content is not what I teach. And the reason that I don't teach scripting your content is because often when we have a script in front of us, or when we're trying to memorize a script, we are setting ourselves up for failure. We are actually setting ourselves up to stuff up and to make mistakes because we're trying to remember specific words. And it's also going to come across quite ingenuous because it will feel like we're reading from a script. Even if you memorize it, you're still going to sound like, oh, this is scripted. And that energy of it being scripted and not genuinely coming from you, if that makes sense, is not what your audience is going to vibe with. So rather than having a script, start with the script and get to know the script, create a script of your own, all that kind of stuff. You can do that. But when it comes to really going all in with video, what I would suggest doing is preparing your content in a way that is simple and in a way that you don't have to memorize certain lines. So rather than following a script, the way I teach in my programs is to follow a structure. And I'm going to show you that structure when we get to creating our 30-second video today. So you're not going to be following a script today. It's going to be, coming from the heart space. You will have some ideas down on paper, but it won't be a word for word script. The reason that I have created this video script bundle is because I know my audience think they need a video script to make video content. And it's a really great way for me to bring in an audience and then to educate in the way that I think is the best way to create video content. I trust that makes sense. Video script bundle is still really valuable. Cool. So a couple comments. Danielle, always good to have a reminder for the format for the pitch. Yes, absolutely. But to be in the moment. Yeah, absolutely. We want to be in the moment rather than reading from a script. Sam, you've been doing video content for so long, but you still need a script. You hate it. Yeah. So I'm going to teach you this format that will help you to structure your content rather than script it. Because it's you kind of feel a bit stilted and I know personally, if I'm using a script, I'm kind of probably going to make a mistake, all that kind of stuff. Yay, I'm so glad you're here too. Lovely. So we're going to prepare our content. And then we're going to raise our energy because we need more energy than we think we need when we get in front of the camera. And the way you're going to know if you've got enough energy is by practicing, watching your videos back, as painful as it might be in the beginning to watch yourself back on video. You need to watch yourself back because that's how you're going to be able to calibrate whether your energy is on point or not. Cool. Sam, you don't trust yourself to remember all the things. I can absolutely relate to that. And I'm sure you're not alone. So yeah, the structure that I'm going to teach you today will help you to try and make sure that you get what the main points that you need to get across, but then also give you that flexibility of not having to read word for word or remember word for word. Yeah, so many things to do to stay on track. Awesome. The final thing when it comes to our energy and talking about the vibe is breathing. And this is something that I know we can absolutely forget to do when we are either live on Facebook or when we're just recording a video, because we put ourselves under all this pressure. And so we forget to breathe. So if we can take a breath before you press the record button, before you press the go live button, to take a deep breath. Even more than that, what I like to teach is the box breathing technique. So breathing in for the count of 4, you hold at the top for 4, breathe out for the count of 4, and you rest for the count of 4. So it's kind of like a little square. As you breathe in, as you breathe out. And so if you do that breathing technique 2 or 3 times before you press that record button, what you do is you start to calm your nervous system. And we want to be in that calm energy, yet we want to have the energy to give to our audience at the same time. So it's kind of a bit of a balance. And again, that's why watching your videos back and getting a sense of your energy on camera is really, really important. Also, while we are creating our videos, we want to remember to breathe as we're doing the video as well. So sometimes we feel like we have to talk really fast when we're on video, because whether it's we're thinking we don't want to waste people's time or we've got to get all this content out. But the thing is, our minds actually work so much faster than our voices do. So our brains, it's okay for us to slow down. In fact, we need to slow down for our audience to understand what it is we're talking about. Trust that makes sense. Breathing is like absolutely the key to calming yourself down and to having a really, really present energy on camera. Trust that is making sense so far. Hack number 4. This is one of my favorite. Ask for engagement. I know it sounds super, super simple, but it just blows my mind how many people don't do this, is ask for engagement. Because we actually think that, or we expect people want to comment and to engage with our audience. We think they want to engage with us, but it's actually not the case. Generally, especially if we're on social media, using video content, what is happening? Like, think about how you use social media. We are like scrolling through, maybe because we're bored or maybe because we're procrastinating. And we don't necessarily want to be spending, hours commenting or that kind of thing. So people don't actually want to comment and engage with your content. And I want you to remember that, because we need to ask for engagement. We need to encourage our audience to engage by asking them in a really, really simple and specific way. So I've got some examples here that will show, what is going to work and what's not going to work. So if you're doing your video content and you ask, what is your biggest problem when it comes to getting things done? Like, really simple example. The problem with this ask for engagement is that it's a hard question for them to answer. They have to actually think about it. They're kind of like, oh God, what is my biggest problem? I'm not really sure what it is. Or it might take a while for them to actually type in, the problems that they're having. And it doesn't make them feel good for them to say, actually, my biggest problem is this. Instead, we want to make it really easy for them to comment. So it could be asking or saying, drop a little mind blown emoji in the comments if sometimes you feel overwhelmed from time to time. That is really, really easy for people to do, is to just pop in an emoji as opposed to writing a couple of sentences out in the comments, and you're likely to get more engagement that way. The other way, the other really, really good way to get engagement is like the last example here. Let me know in the comments what works for you when it comes to productivity. If you're asking a question that's going to make your audience feel really good to answer, they're so much more likely to answer. You see the difference between that first one and the third one there? We're actually giving, like we're empowering our audience to give an example that is really positive and it's going to make them feel like a winner. And we want our audience to, you know, feel really good about themselves. I trust that makes sense when it comes to engaging with your audience, because we need to engage. Because when we engage, what happens is we let the social platforms know that our content is worth looking at. It's worth, you know, consuming this content. And the social platforms, when they think, oh, this is really great content, people are commenting, people are engaging with it, then they want to show your content to more people. Sam, mind blown, love it. Never thought of it before. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. It's something that is quite simple, you know, ask your audience for engagement, but sometimes the way that we ask is even more important than just asking for engagement. So we want to be strategic about the ways that we ask for that engagement. Awesome. All right, now I'm just going to do a quick time check. Whew, we got 20 minutes. I'm loving it. Sip of tea. Hack number 5, create video content with purpose. This is where we're actually going to start thinking about and creating that 30-second video. So how do we do it? First of all, I want you to see where your 30-second video pitch actually fits in to the strategy. So if we were thinking about different types of video content, we might have videos that have, you know, a little bit of value, you know, short videos that give a little bit of value to our audience. We have videos that are about building relationships with our audience for them to get to know us and for us to get to know them as well. We might have big value videos. So an example would be like this video, right? I'm live streaming on Facebook. You can be in the Zoom room, all of that kind of stuff. So it's more valuable content. It's about an hour to 90 minutes. So big valuable content that people can actually take action on and get some results before they even start to work with you. Right? And I trust that you can see how having content like that will help to lead to more sales. Then this is what we're going to focus on today, the sales pitch video, which is just a tiny little piece of the puzzle. And when I say 30 seconds, it doesn't necessarily have to be 30 seconds. I'm just using that as an example because the shorter the video, the more people are likely to watch it. And especially if it's fitting into, like I talked about, it's kind of like a puzzle, right? All of these different elements of your video content. So this is just one little piece of the content. And what we are doing is assuming that our audience, when they get to watch this sales pitch video, is they've likely watched maybe 1, 2, 3, 20 other videos of yours that have been value-based or relationship-based. Cool. So we're not just going to throw this video pitch video out there for the sake of it. We're going to do it in a way that's strategic and in a way that is matching your audience for where they're at. So this sales pitch video is probably going to be more suited to your warm audience rather than your cold audience. Making sense? Loving it? Loving it? Awesome. And then of course you've got follow-up videos as well. So follow-up videos are videos that are more for people that have purchased your programs or have purchased your products, and you want to still continue building those relationships. You'd like them to, you know, leave reviews, all of that kind of stuff as well. So we can still continue that journey with them once they have purchased. Cool. So how are we going to do this? You'll definitely need a pen and paper for this. What I want you to think about now, the very first thing I want you to think about is, what are you pitching and how can they buy it? Pretty simple. So I would love you to write down on your piece of paper or write in the chat what you're pitching and how they can buy it. So is it a product? Is it a service? Is it a consultation? It'd be great if you could use something that you are actually selling right now, not like a made up thing. It'd be great if we could have some examples of this in real time. So thinking about what specifically you're selling. So Danielle, for example, you mentioned you're running your second round of your program. So it'd be a great thing to work on pitching that one today. And then also think about how they're going to buy. So is it from a link? Are you going to add a link with that video? Is it you want them to book a call? And how do they do that? Do you have a contact number? Or do you have a link where they can book in a free consultation with you as a sales call? Do you have an application process? All of these ways, by the way, work. There's no right or wrong. It's not like, oh, if you've got a link, it's better. Great, Sam, 12-week program, book a call. Fantastic, I love that. So thinking about what specifically you're pitching, you probably want to write down like the program name, for example, and yeah, to join the program, you'll need to book a call. Wonderful. And I imagine booking a call, you're going to have like a calendar link or something like that attached to your video. Fantastic. Yeah, great. So just write that down. That's where we're going to start, because we want to start with the purpose of the video. The purpose of the video is to pitch a specific product or service. Should I rather send them to the sales page first though? Sam, depends on the price point, I would say. Depends on the price point of the program as to whether or not they need a call. Yeah, 3,500, you could send them to the sales page. You absolutely could. Does the sales page also have a link to have a conversation with you? That's what, yeah, perfect. Awesome. Yeah, so up to you, whichever you'd like to choose. What I would do is I would do a couple of different videos and test that. Test what works, whether it is sending them straight to the sales page or whether it is straight to book a call. Cool. Awesome. Alrighty, so number 2, I want you to now think about a fun fact or a statistic that is going to help your audience know they need you or know they need what you can give them, right? So have a bit of a think about something that's, kind of a fun fact or a statistic. For example, one that I like to use is, I like to start videos with a question. And I might say, hey, did you know that when you include a video on your landing page, you can actually increase your sales by 80%? Like, that's huge. So a bit of a wow factor statistic or fun fact is what we're going for. So if you've got something that you're sort of, and your content obviously better than I do, so you're going to come up with something that will be a match for what it is you're selling for your program or for your product or service. So you don't necessarily have to write these fun facts or statistics in the chat or in the comments. You can just write that down on your piece of paper. Sam, did you know that video is the easiest way for you to start being seen as the go-to expert in your industry? Yes, love that. Love it. That's awesome. Yeah, that one would work for me. It's great. So take a little bit of time to pop down a fun fact or a statistic. If you're watching the recording of this, you might want to pause and take some time to think about it. You might want to try a few different ones, and you don't just have to make one 30-second video. You could do multiple videos. Cool. I know this might seem like we're rushing through, but it's like one sentence. It doesn't have to be super in-depth. If you do need help, shout out, let us know. You can either pop in the comments or in the chat, oh my gosh, I don't have a stat or I don't have a fact and I need help. But if you've already got that, the next step is to think about, what is a problem that your audience face that your product or service solves? Danielle, you're going to need to research a stat. That's fine. Yeah, absolutely. You can research a stat, or we could come up with one now. Can you tell us a little bit about your program? Do you want to come off mute? We might be able to help you.
Well, hello.
Oh, hi. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your program, and we might be able to help you come up with a fun fact or a statistic?
Fantastic. Yeah, so my program is called Purpose to Presence, Be a Leader in Your Own Life. And it's helping women to identify what's important to them and to reflect on what their value, particularly after COVID. So reflect on their values, have a look at now what's important to them in their lives, what they can do to put boundaries in place to help them get to that place, and then look at setting the intentions and putting a plan in place to bring that all together.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay. So I know, Danielle, you work a lot around boundaries and things like that. Can we think about maybe a fun fact to do with boundaries? You know, what happens when you have really solid boundaries? What's something that you know your audience will really want? Like, what's the outcome that they want to have that they don't have yet?
Oh, yeah. So it's more about what do I usually put? Saying no to say yes. I think that's the way I put it, something like that. So, you know, if you put boundaries in place, then, you know, you're saying no to say yes, or putting in place beautiful boundaries or something like that. I'm not quite sure off the top of my head, a lot of pressure.
Yeah, no, that's great. I really like that. And that's a bit of a like a mind play as well, like a language, you know, say no to say yes. And when you start a video with something like that, that's an immediate hook. It's an immediate attention grab for your audience. They're kind of like, oh, what? Say no to say yes? I've got to think about that for a second.
So what about if I did it, I don't know whether to put it as a negative or a positive. So it could be, did you know that women find it challenging to say no more so that they can say yes in their lives?
Oh, okay. Could we just have a play around with, is it time? Is it something like, is it time for you to say no so that you can say yes?
Oh, I like that. That's nice. Thank you.
So even though that's not like a specific statistic or a fun fact, that's still something that is going to capture people's attention at the start of your video.
Sorry, thanks. And what's really good is that I'm not going to go down the multi-passionate rabbit hole of researching 1 million stats and end up hours away without being on track.
Exactly, yeah. And so we don't have to complicate it. It can be quite simple. Yep. Awesome.
I love it. Thank you. That's great.
Great. Winning. Alrighty. So next part is, we're thinking about the problem that your audience face that your product or service solves. So Sam, you've popped in, they've got fear of judgment and criticism from those online. Absolutely. So that's fantastic. So we want to think about, how I'm just going to scroll up the chat and read. So Sam, I'm curious to hear your niche, Sam. It sounds quite similar to mine. Did you know that video is the easiest way for you to start being seen as the go-to expert in your industry? And then from there, we're going to incorporate this problem. So we're going to say something like, if you're experiencing fear of judgment or criticism from other people online, then you're in the right place. Or I've got a message for you, or I know how you feel. Because the final part of this puzzle, this little puzzle of our 30-second video pitch, is sharing a personal story or a client story if you don't necessarily have a great personal story that's a match, right? And this personal story is going to be one that shows that you've been where they are, so that you can be the example. You can be the person that they want to become. Let me know if that is making sense. So Danielle, for you, for example, I know that you've sort of been where your potential clients are going to be, and you can share a little bit about your story and how what has worked for you can also help them. Purposes. Yes, lovely. Makes total sense. Fantastic. Very good, very good. Okay. Sam, you can tell them that I was there because you were there where they were because you were bullied for 12 years through school and about your appearance, which led to low self-confidence. Yes, fantastic. When you share those kinds of stories, your audience are going to really resonate with that story and think, oh my God, she has been where I am, or she's had a similar experience to me, and I can see that she's come out the other side of that and has solved that problem. And so if our audience see us solving our own problems, they know that we can help them solve their problems too. During your market research, so many of them were bullied in school as well. Yes, yeah, absolutely. So that's a super relevant story to your market. Oh, thanks, Sam. That's great. Great to hear. Awesome. Alrighty. So finally, this is how we're going to put it all together. And this is that structure that I mentioned, Sam. So there's 4 elements of the structure. So we have what we call the why frame. And in a 30-second video, it's much more condensed than a structure that we would use for a training, for example, like this. But we can still use that structure. So this is our why. Why do our audience need to listen to this video? And so the example that we use with Danielle, is it time for you to say no so you can say yes? That is telling them why they need to actually listen to this video. If they're somebody that says yes all the time, even though they want to say no, then they know that this video is really right for them. Cool. Danielle, yeah, they're shy, they're not confident, giving all their energy to, you're giving all your energy to others, so you needed to reassess your life, your values, your purpose, boundaries, make it happen. Yeah, fantastic. So your story is going to be super relatable for your clients too. So yeah, this is the structure. So we've got the why part here. This is why, and this is where you might include questions. You might include some benefits of what it is you're going to share. You might include a story or a quote, things like that in this section. But for today, for our 30-second video, all we're going to do, and I know we've hit the hour mark, so I trust if you've got time to stick around that you will, or you'll come back to the recording on in the Facebook group. So share your fun fact or your statistic. That's what you're going to do first. Yeah. And instead of writing down the whole fact, so Danielle, you might just write down in your notes, you're going to square off your page. So grab your piece of paper and pop in your 4 quadrants. And in this part, Danielle, you might write just say no to say yes. And then you can practice coming from a space of, how would I word that? How would I language that? You don't need to say what I specifically said, but you'll find a way that feels right for you. And all you need in that little square is say no to say yes. And that's your first part done. The next part is what we call the what frame. So what is that problem that your audience face that your product or service solves? And that's where you might, again, put one line, or you might even like to draw a little image if that's going to just kind of trigger your memory of what that problem is that your audience face. The third part is your story. And generally, it can take a little bit of time to get to a point where you're super comfortable or super confident sharing your own story. So it may take a little bit of time and practice to actually press that record button and get your personal story out there. So that's the third part. The reason these numbers don't make sense is because this is how we actually start thinking about it. It's because we start with, what the purpose of the video is. What are you pitching and how can they buy? That's what we need to think about before we think about anything else. But it's actually what we say last. This is like our call to action. It's calling our audience to, hey, this is what I want you to do now that you have listened to my video, right? So let me know if this is making sense. If you've got any questions, you're welcome to come off mute or, pop in the comments. All good, fantastic, makes perfect sense, I love it. So what I want you to do now is, if you're here in the Zoom room, you can, what I would suggest is mute Zoom for 5 minutes and get your phone out. And with the notes that you've got on your page, all I want you to do, you don't have to go live. I want you to just get out your phone and I want you to have a go. It will not be perfect. Yeah, it will not be perfect, likely the first time that you do this. But when you're thinking about, okay, I'm going to start with my fun fact, and then I'm going to touch on the problem, and then I'm going to share my story, and then I'm going to tell them what my product or service is. So just let me know. I'm gonna pause here for a couple of minutes as you do that. And if you're watching the recording, you might just want to hit pause and go ahead and film your first video. And let me know when you're done. Excuse me. If you're watching on Facebook, Louise, I've just seen your comment of how to enter the Zoom room. Sorry, I didn't see that earlier. It should be in the description of the post there. I've popped the link in, but that's okay. So just a couple more minutes. This shouldn't really take very long at all. Danielle, you started well, but bombed on the call to action. That is so common. I tell you why. The call to action is like if we've got any kind of hesitation around sales or selling, that kind of thing, that's where we're kind of like, oh my God, I've got to talk about me selling or at that transaction. So super, super common. The way to help that is to keep practicing just that last bit. I love all the rest was pretty good. That's fantastic. What I would love for you to do is if you've just done your video, I want you to post it into the Facebook group, because if you post it into the Facebook group, I can give you some feedback on that. I know it seems really scary and you're like, oh, it might not be perfect, or it might not be, absolutely as good as I want it to be, all of that kind of stuff. That doesn't matter. The thing that matters is that you do it. And if you've already done it right now, then what I would love for you to do is post in the Facebook group. Should I cut the weird cord? No, don't cut the weird bit out. Don't cut the weird bit out. And it's totally fine. If you get overwhelmed and you forget, that is what this Facebook group is all about. It's actually about stuffing up, getting it wrong, love that you're posting it now, Danielle. Huge, huge congratulations. That's epic. And that's how you're going to get more feedback. And that's how I'm going to know, like, to give you feedback, what's actually going to help, because I'll be able to see what I think is the problem around that. And then I'll be able to help you more. Sam, you're going to record and post it after the call. Love it. Wonderful. Yeah, if you'd like to do that, that's fantastic too. I'm going to keep going. We're nearly at the end. So that's fine. But I would highly recommend that you do post. Thank you. Well done, Danielle. After you've done your pitch, even if you're watching the recording of this and it's like, you know, some point next week and you want to post your video, make sure you hashtag video pitch, and tag me in it so that I know. Danielle, don't worry about, you know, doing hashtag, I'll see yours. You did put makeup on. Love it, love it. Okay, cool. So, don't need that. So, you know, I'm not sure why you actually showed up today. You know, maybe you were frustrated and you feel like you've got so much to share on video, but you feel weird about doing the sales videos. Danielle, maybe that's what's happening when you're doing that, getting overwhelmed and stuffing up the call to action part. Totally normal. Or it could be that you're overwhelmed with the thought of everything that you need to do to show up on camera and get all those pieces of the puzzle in place. Yeah, you definitely don't like the sales bit. Yeah, that's something that we can work on. Maybe you've also heard the buzz and the excitement around the results that other people are having when it comes to video content, and you want to see how you can make it work for you. Oh my goodness, one of my dogs just dropped one and it smells so bad. Whew, I'm really glad you're not in the room with me today. Or, you know, perhaps you're bored and you just wanted to do some extra training. Yeah, if that's you, that's cool too. I know, monkey face. So let's face it, video marketing absolutely rocks, and it can transform your entire business and your life. And, you know, I believe that if you're still watching this training, even if it's a recording, that you have what it takes to excel with video marketing. The reason is because only a small percentage of people make it through trainings like this, because it's a free training. Yeah. And if you're one of them, then I know that your dedication will absolutely, without a doubt, serve you so well when it comes to showing up on video. So if you are ready to take it to the next level and to start taking action, create a solid video strategy, then, you know, I have something special for you. But first, if there's one thing to take away, then simply showing up on video for the sake of it, like I see a lot of people doing right now, it just doesn't get the results that you're after anymore. It just doesn't. And you really must have a strategic plan, and you've got to take that consistent action on it. So when you do this, video has the ability to massively increase your results when it comes to converting prospects into clients. Oh, Sam, that's why you stopped your 365-day live challenge. Yes, absolutely. You were doing it for the sake of it. Yeah, we need strategy. So I want you to remember that nothing I've shared with you today is that like fluff and just might work. It is exactly what I've done in my business to leverage my time and to increase my online business. And I've also helped others as well. And, you know, they might just be just like you to show up on video and to increase their sales. And it doesn't matter if you're a technophobe. And Danielle, you're a great example of somebody who has persisted in the face of tech challenges. Or even if you're a newbie in business, it's all about taking those small steps forward, but it's doing it now. Yeah, it's not waiting until the time is right. It is taking action even if you don't feel ready. Because, you know, when you show up as you and you share from a space of service, what happens is you attract your tribe, you know, potential clients who love your vibe, your energy, all of that good stuff. And so injecting video into every phase of your client attraction system is going to fast track that process of moving a prospect through to a sale. And the added bonus is that you also become seen as a thought leader in your industry. And that's, you know, when you're sharing your expertise on camera, you become seen as a leader. And that's what we want. We want to be seen as that leader in our industry, right? So it is your time. It's your time right now. So now that you've got these 5 hacks under your belt, how much of an impact do you think even just one of them is going to have on your video content? Think about when we talked about making mistakes. how impactful could just that one little hack have on your video content? It's huge. It's building trust, which is the vital ingredient for sales. So if you're going through this training, you're still here, you're probably starting to see the possibilities of video marketing. You might be thinking, maybe I've been approaching video the wrong way. It's not your fault. Not many people are taught this. We're just sort of taught, oh, just keep showing up, and it'll happen. That's wrong. There's a time and a place for showing up consistently, and that is to build the confidence and competence of showing up on video, right? I have run in the past programs where, we show up every day on camera. The reason that is so effective is because it helps build that confidence and the competence of showing up on camera. But it is actually not what's needed to make sales. That's needed for confidence. What's needed for sales is strategy. And so, thanks, Sam. I appreciate that. So, the obvious question now is, how can you apply these hacks to leverage and profit from, video? You've got a choice, of course. You could do it the slow way through trial, error. You could spend hours on end on YouTube trying to piece it all together, which, I must admit I've done a little bit of myself. Or you could join me in my program, Convert on Camera. I'm running a renewed version. I ran this for the first time last year as a 6-week program, and I'm running it again this year as a 12-week program. Because I tell you what, me personally, I understand that creating video content can be strategic and it can feel really daunting. So as you're possibly beginning to realize right now, strategic video content is going to increase your results dramatically so that you've got every single piece of that puzzle in place, right? So how do you do that? How do you create these pieces of video content in the right way? There's so much more to creating strategic video content than simply just filming a video. And I trust that you're starting to see that. So when you create strategic video content, what that gives you is credibility with your audience in, of course, as we all are in, saturated marketplaces. It also gives you a system to build trust with your dream clients really, really fast, if you're doing it the right way, of course. And the ability to attract the right people, your dream clients, the ones you want to work with that are going to get results, to attract those right people into your business. It's also going to help you get the freedom and the flexibility so that you don't have to create excessive amounts of video content. So you don't have to show up 365 days a year. And, once upon a time, that absolutely worked. 365 days of video content would get you amazing results, even if you were just showing up to show up. But now the game has changed because there are more people doing video now. That's why it's changed. So if you're ready to experience this, I am really excited to help you do that inside Convert on Camera. Like I mentioned, it is now a 12-week program to give you all the tools that you need to create a really strategic video content strategy in a way that attracts, connects with, and converts your dream clients. Some people will say, well, can't I just hire a videographer? Yes, absolutely. If you have the budget to be able to hire a videographer, that is a great option. And I would absolutely support that as an option. But I also want you to remember that no one will ever know your audience and the content as well as you do. And I also don't think I've ever heard anyone say, learning how to be more effective on camera was the biggest mistake I ever made. It is so valuable. It's such a valuable skill to have in your toolbox. So Convert on Camera, I want to show you what's waiting for you inside when you join this program. You'll learn how to captivate the attention of your dream clients through video marketing, attract, like I said, those dream clients that already know they need you in their life. And that's the key, yeah? You want clients that know they need you. You're also going to discover how to create the 5 types of video content that you need in your business, right? There are 5 specific types. Then you're also going to share your story in a way that showcases your expertise in your industry, unlock the power of what I like to call the positive persuasion method. It's a method that I've personally developed so that you can convert dream clients in a way that feels natural and also authentic. And you'll also develop a conversion strategy that plays across every element of your video plan. So you actually have all of those pieces of the puzzle. That's what we're working towards. So what's included? Lifetime access to the Convert on Camera portal. So as the Convert on Camera program is developing, it's developing all the time. As I increase content, you will always have access to that. You'll also have 3 90-minute private coaching sessions with me so that you can fast track your success and really get into the nitty-gritty of what you need to do and how you need to implement things. There's 6 learning classes, so that's when I'm going to teach in those 6 classes, and 6 implementation classes. So every second week will be an implementation class, kind of a little bit similar today, where you'll actually, record a video in the class and you'll have a go and get feedback on that. It's really, really important, that feedback process. And of course, 12 weeks of dedicated group support. There are always bonuses. So the bonuses here are a half-day Unleash Your Inner Goddess on Camera workshop. And this is perfect for those who might have some reservations still about actually putting themselves out there on camera. So if that's something that you're worried about, that is covered absolutely in one of the bonuses. There's also 90 days of video prompts, and I'm so excited about this because look what has literally just arrived yesterday in my post box. I have had these made. It is a card deck. It's just kind of like oracle cards, but video prompt cards. And oh, look at them. They're so pretty. I love them. So you can just like grab one out and go, oh, what am I going to talk about? They are strategic video cards. I know, it's so exciting. It's actually going to be a companion to my book, Danielle. Very exciting. I was hoping they'd arrive by Sunday, but they didn't. Anyway. And actually one client has said, I did have a digital version of these prompts. One client said that these prompts will actually give her content ideas for the entire year. And it means you don't have to worry about what you're going to talk about when you show up on video. Yeah, I can absolutely tell you about the book at the end, Sam, not a problem. Another bonus is you've got a sales page video workshop. Now, this workshop is a bonus that is specifically designed to help you create an epic sales page video. Now, my sales page, my video on my sales page goes for, I think it's about 15 minutes. So it's quite in depth and it converts really well. So I trust that if you want to really go all in with this, that's going to be really attractive. And I have a super bonus. This is what I'm like really, really excited about. We're going to, in this program, get together for a 2-night all expenses paid retreat at, if you don't already know, my partner and I have a cute little boutique hotel. Actually, Danielle stayed there before. It was where I had my book launch on Sunday. And it's about an hour and a half from Melbourne. So if that floats your boat, retreats are what I'm all about. So we will be getting together for a 2-night all expenses paid retreat, foods included, all that. And I'm going to be setting up a mini filming studio so that everyone on the retreat can record as much video content as they want. I'm so excited about this. Yeah, it is. It's such a beautiful hotel. Fancy pub. Yes. So what's the investment? I'm sure you're keen to hear. There is a self-paced version, but that doesn't include like the online classes and the retreat and all that kind of stuff. But the self-paced version is $9.97 just by itself. And that is literally just the Convert on Camera portal where you can access the content by yourself. The VIP group program that includes all the bonuses and the 12 weeks of support and the group classes is 6 payments of $525 or $997 in full. And you save a little bit if you pay in full. The doors close for this round on the 14th of Feb. I am thinking there may be another round towards the end of this year, but there won't be more than 2 Convert on Camera programs this year. So if you would like to jump on board and do this program, I'd highly recommend jumping on the program starting in February. There's a 90-day money-back guarantee. I am so passionate about providing really extraordinary training that actually helps my clients to succeed. So if you're not like completely blown away by the training that's provided, then you just have to send an email. There's no questions asked and there'll be a full refund. Happy days. So just to recap, you'll have lifetime access to the Convert on Camera portal with everything that you need to create strategic video content. And that is often updated with new content, new strategies, all of that stuff. As I grow, obviously, the content that I deliver grows as well. Half-day workshop, 90 days of video prompts. Those cards, they're so cool. The sales page video workshop and the 2-night retreat, all for either 6 payments of $525 or in full for $2,997. Like I said, doors close on the 14th of Feb. Sam, you asked about my book. This is my book right here. It's called Speak with Confidence and Grow Your Business. And I wrote it specifically for female entrepreneurs who want to share their message on camera or on stage. So this is not yet available online because I was waiting for these beauties to arrive so I can create a little pack together, but it will be available very soon. So you're obviously, if you're watching this, you're already in my Facebook group. Keep your eye out for when I do release those to the public.